I learned Italian to propose, then I overheard her planning a date with another man. Chapter 1. The Language of Love. From the moment I met Naomi, I felt like I'd stumbled into the kind of love people write songs about. She was magnetic, smart, elegant, effortlessly kind, and Italian with a voice that could make grocery lists sound like poetry. We met at a house party thrown by a mutual friend, and from the first conversation, it felt like we already knew each other. Within weeks, we were spending nearly every weekend together. Months later, we were building traditions. Friday night pizza, Saturday hikes, Sunday mornings making playlists and pancakes. She introduced me to homemade pasta and I introduced her to late 90s rock bands. We learned each other's rhythms like lyrics to our favorite songs. She missed speaking her native tongue and I saw an opportunity to surprise her in a way she'd never expect. So I started learning Italian. It wasn't easy, but it felt meaningful. Every spare moment between work and grad school I dedicated to lessons. My goal? To propose to her in her own language during our upcoming trip to Florida with my parents. I even bought the ring, platinum band, emerald-cut diamond. I imagined every detail of that sunset proposal. I imagined her tears, her laughter, her "si, amore." We arrived at the beach resort just as the sky painted itself in summer hues. The air was warm, the water inviting, and our days were filled with joy and closeness. My parents adored her. They were already calling her family. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. Because 3 days ago, over an innocent dinner at a crowded buffet, I overheard a conversation that would split my world in two. And she had no idea I understood every word. Chapter 2. The Buffet Table Betrayal. It started like any other evening. My parents chatted about my sister's upcoming baby shower while Naomi and I filled our plates. The restaurant buzzed with voices and clinking glasses. I was just walking back from the carving station when I saw her. Naomi. Smiling, laughing, with a tall, dark-haired man. They were speaking Italian and I couldn't help but feel a spark of pride. After all, I could now understand enough to follow along. That pride curdled into something else entirely. The man leaned in slightly and asked, "Ci vediamo stanotte? Are we seeing each other tonight?" And she giggled, then said, "Forse si sei bravo. Maybe if you're good." I froze mid-step. My plate trembled in my hands. I had waited months for this moment, to surprise her, to show her how deeply I listened, how much I cared. And instead, I was watching the woman I loved flirt with a stranger. In the very language I had learned for her. When I sat back down, she was already chatting casually with my mom as if nothing had happened. The man had disappeared. My brain screamed questions, but my lips moved on autopilot, smiling, nodding, eating food that turned to ash in my mouth. That night, Naomi curled into me like she always did. Her body warm against mine, her fingers trailing lazy circles on my chest. But I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, wondering who the hell was sleeping beside me. The messages she never meant me to see. I told her I needed honesty. That I wasn't looking to fight, I just wanted the truth. If there was nothing between them, there should be nothing to hide. She hesitated. Her face turned pale. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked her phone and handed it over. At first, I checked the group chat with her friends. Harmless banter. Dinner plans. Jokes. But then I saw a separate thread. Just her and Levi. The messages weren't explicit. But they weren't innocent either. They spoke of memories. Of times that only they shared. They laughed about songs they used to listen to, places they used to go. Talked about who they used to be. Then came the plans. Coffee dates. Lunch meetups. Always when I was at work. Always when I wasn't around. I counted 4 separate times they met alone. None of which she ever told me about. I confronted her. She claimed it was harmless. Said friends do this all the time. Said nothing physical ever happened. But she missed the point. It wasn't the coffee. It was the cover-up. It wasn't about Levi. It was about what she didn't tell me. Chapter 4. The Box Behind the Filing Cabinet. I stayed with my brother Tom after that. I needed space. Clarity. He didn't ask questions. Just gave me a beer and a bed. When I returned a week later to grab some files from the home office, I found it. A shoebox tucked behind old binders and photo albums. Inside, letters, photos, cards. At first, I thought it was ancient history. Mementos from her past. But then I saw the dates. A movie ticket from 2 months ago. A receipt from a bistro we'd never been to together. A greeting card signed by Levi, dated just before our anniversary. With a message that read, "You still get me like no one else ever has." I felt like the ground beneath me cracked open. That night I laid everything out on the table, literally. And she couldn't deny it anymore. She admitted they'd been meeting for almost 6 months. Not 3. That they reconnected even before he moved back. That she never told me because she knew what it would look like. She swore nothing physical happened. But I wasn't asking about bodies. I was asking about hearts. 5. The diagnosis and the descent. I didn't tell Naomi goodbye. I left her a note saying her flight was arranged with my parents, and that I had to leave early for work. I knocked on my parents' door and told them I needed the next flight home. They didn't ask questions. I think they saw it in my eyes. Whatever had been whole was now broken. What followed was a blur of grief wrapped in madness. I drank too much, bought things I didn't need, picked fights with strangers, laughed while my world burned. Somewhere along the way, I ended up on the cold floor of a nightclub bathroom, vomiting tequila and self-hatred. And laughing. Because the absurdity of it all was too much to bear. That week I saw a doctor. That doctor sent me to a psychiatrist. And I was diagnosed, bipolar 2. Borderline personality disorder. All my life I'd wondered why I felt things too deeply. Why love felt like an ocean and loss like drowning. Why my heart shattered louder than anyone else's and joy felt like lightning in my veins. Now I knew. And as strange as it sounds, that knowledge didn't destroy me. It saved me. Because for the first time in years, I saw a way forward that wasn't through someone else. It was through me.